Now the big move, the road from Nanjing to Calicut. Meet Zheng He. He's a eunuch, an admiral, and he's about to turn the Indian Ocean into China's personal swimming pool. First, let's set the stage. Here's the world our story unfolds in, around 1405, with Calicut right at the heart of it. It starts in 1403, when the Yongle Emperor Zhu Di decides that ruling China isn't enough. He wants the whole ocean to know who's boss. Zhu Di orders a fleet so massive that shipbuilders look at each other and whisper, is he building a navy or a floating city? And who does he put in charge? A eunuch named Zheng He, because nothing says maritime dominance like a guy who can't grow a beard. At the Longjiang shipyard near Nanjing, the Ming Dynasty builds a fleet so big that even the lumber gets stage fright. And here's Calicut up close, where our story really plays out. Foremen shout orders as thousands of carpenters, caulkers, and blacksmiths turn a forest into a floating city. The treasure ships, 9-masted behemoths measuring 134 meters, make modern aircraft carriers look like bathtub toys. By 1405, the fleet numbers over 300 ships, crewed by 27,800 men, more people than most medieval cities. In July 1405, Zheng He's fleet, 317 ships strong, slides out of Nanjing harbor like a floating city that forgot how to be humble. The fleet cruises down the coast to Quanzhou, where the local officials gasp. They thought the giant ship's rumor was just fisherman gossip. Next stop, Champa, where the locals have never seen ships this big. They assume the Chinese have brought a mountain range to sea. Then Java, where the local king sends a diplomatic gift, a live elephant. Zheng He pats the elephant and says, finally, a pet that matches my ambition. In 1407, the fleet glides into Calicut like a floating city arriving to ask, hey, you selling anything interesting? Zheng He steps ashore with a parade of gifts, silk, porcelain, gold, and the Calicut ruler's eyes go wide. Okay, you have my attention. The ruler of Calicut, delighted, offers his own tribute, mountains of pepper, cinnamon, and fine cotton. Zheng He nods. This is the spice trade, baby. The deal is sealed with a treaty and a feast. Zheng He's fleet loads up on spices, and Calicut becomes China's new best friend on the Malabar coast. In 1407, the fleet glides back into Nanjing harbor like a celebrity returning from a world tour, with gifts and new friends in tow. Envoys from Calicut and other kingdoms step onto Chinese soil, looking around at the grand city with wide eyes and bigger smiles. The envoys parade through Nanjing carrying tribute, spices, jewels, exotic animals, while locals gawk like it's the world's first zoo opening. The Yongle Emperor sits on his throne, beaming as Zheng He presents the envoys. He's so pleased he orders a second voyage immediately. Zheng He's fleet barely has time to unload the elephants before the Yongle Emperor's next decree arrives. Do it again, but farther this time. So in 1407, the treasure fleet turns around and sails back to Champa, where the locals wave like they're greeting a beloved sitcom character. Zheng He hands out more silk and porcelain like a cosmic gift shop, and Champa happily signs the yes, we're totally your tributary treaty again. Zheng He sails into Ceylon in 1411, expecting a friendly handshake. King Alakeshvara, however, has other plans. He wants the Chinese ships, and he wants them now. Alakeshvara sends 50,000 troops to attack the fleet. Zheng He, with only 2,000 men, thinks, well, this is awkward. But Zheng He doesn't panic. He leads a daring night raid on the capital, catching Alakeshvara mid-snack. The king is captured without a fight. Zheng He drags the bewildered king back to Nanjing, where the Yongle Emperor gives him a stern lecture and then lets him go. Don't do it again, okay? In 1413, the treasure fleet sets sail again, this time with a bold new destination, Hormuz, the pearl of the Persian Gulf. Zheng He is ready to expand his stamp collection of tributary kings. First stop, the Maldives, where the locals mistake the giant ships for floating islands. Zheng He hands out silk and porcelain, and the islanders trade coconuts and cowrie shells, the currency of the Indian Ocean. Then it's on to Mogadishu, on the East African coast. The Somali merchants see the fleet and think either we're being invaded by a floating city or business is about to boom. Zheng He's fleet glides into Hormuz harbor like a floating palace. Persian merchants, used as small dhows, stare open-mouthed. One whispers, "Did the Chinese bring their whole empire?" Zheng He's fleet returns to the Indian Ocean in 1417, and this time they've got a shopping list. One giraffe, if possible. Emperor's orders. They swing by Hormuz, where the merchants are now old friends. Zheng, he trades silk for pearls and a few very confused camels. Next stop, Mogadishu, where the Sultan receives porcelain and a miniature elephant statue. He nods politely, wondering when the real elephants arrive. But the real prize is in Malindi. The king presents a giraffe, and Zheng He's jaw drops. It's tall, it's spotty, it's perfect. The giraffe is loaded onto a specially modified ship with a hole in the deck for its neck. The crew calls it his long-necked majesty. Back in Nanjing, 1419, the Yongle emperor sits on his throne, and the giraffe is led into the courtyard. The emperor gasps. It's a Chilan, a mythical beast. The year is 1421. The treasure fleet shoves off again, but this time it's less "let's explore" and more Uber for diplomats. First stop, Champa. The envoys stumble off the ship, grateful for solid ground. Zheng He hands over gifts and a bill for voyage expenses. In Java, the envoys are treated to a dance performance. Zheng He checks his watch. They have a schedule to keep, and this is a delivery service, not a cruise. But in 1424, the Yongle emperor, the man who dreamed of giraffes and global dominance, finally kicks the bucket. His son, the Hongxi emperor, takes the throne and immediately screams, "No more boats. We're broke." The treasury is drained, the northern border is a mess, and frankly, Dad's giant boat hobby was getting ridiculous. Zheng He, the admiral of 1,000 ships, is told to stay home, and, garden, he is not amused. The Hongxi emperor, who hated boats so much he made a law against them, is dead. His reign was shorter than a nap. His son, the Xuande emperor, takes the throne. He looks at the mothballed fleet and strokes his chin. Maybe, just maybe, the emperor summons Zheng He from his garden. Zheng He, covered in dirt and holding a wilted radish, looks up. "You rang?" Zheng He dusts off his admiral's hat. The treasure fleet is back in business. Time to put the treasure back in treasure fleet. The Xuande emperor, bored with peace and low on exotic pets, decides the treasure fleet needs one last hurrah. He summons Zheng He. Zheng He, now 60 and creaky, accepts the scroll with trembling hands. He hasn't sailed in years, but the sea still calls, and so does the emperor's gold. The emperor's decree is clear. Restore tributary relations, show the flag, and maybe pick up a few souvenirs. Zheng He nods, he knows the drill. Zheng He dusts off his admiral's hat. The treasure fleet is back in business. Time to go shopping for giraffes again. In 1431, Zheng He, now 60 and creaky, shuffles onto the flagship. The fleet is smaller, but he's still got it. Over 100 ships sail from Nanjing, but this time the emperor only wants a few giraffes. Budget cuts. First stop, Champa. The king greets Zheng He with a parade of elephants. Zheng He pats one and says, "Nice tusks." Then Java, where the locals remember Zheng He's last visit and offer him a dance. He declines, his knees aren't what they used to be. Zheng He, age 62, lies in his cabin. His body says stop, but his spirit still wants to see one more giraffe. His officers gather around, trying to look brave. But even the toughest eunuch can't hold back a tear when the fleet's grandpa is checking out. Zheng He whispers his final order, "Bring the fleet home, and tell the emperor, I kept my promise." Then he closes his eyes for the last time. The fleet mourns. Then Wang Jinghong wipes his face, takes command, and points the treasure ships toward home. The admiral is gone, But the voyage isn't over. In 1433, the fleet limps back to Nanjing. The emperor's men are already at the docks, not with a welcome banner, but with torches. The Xuande emperor has a new hobby, forgetting expensive adventures. He orders the treasure ships dismantled. They make excellent firewood. Officials drag logs of treasure fleet records into a courtyard. A bonfire crackles. The history of a decade at sea goes up in smoke. And so the treasure fleet fades into legend. But the stories of Zheng He's voyages would sail on in whispers, in secret scrolls, and in the memory of the sea. Zheng He's voyages had carved Chinese influence across the Indian Ocean like a dragon's claw. But back home, the Ming court was already yawning. The Xuande emperor, fresh off his forgetting expensive adventures hobby, orders the treasure fleet's records burned. A bonfire of ambition. With the records gone, the Ming court turns inward like a turtle pulling its head into its shell. No more blue water adventures. And so the greatest fleet the world had ever seen became a memory, a what-if for the history books. The dragons slumbered.